men and women are different. More specifically, they communicate differently. Um, Gender communication is a popular topic that interests many. Popular books have been written, like John Gray's Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, and Deborah Tannen's You Just Don't Understand. In my experience with relationships with women, I discovered that women tend to communicate in a more indirect way, while men like to get down to the point. I found this, being a man, I found this frustrating, yet I was eager to know more about the differences in gender communication. What interests me the most, and I'm sure it will for you too, is the reasons behind these differences. The next 5 minutes, I hope to summarize the biological factors that affect men and women, causing them to have different behaviors in communication. First, I'll discuss the physical differences in the brain, since that's where we do all our thinking, right? Next, I will move to the effects of hormones, and finally, I'll discuss how evolutionary factors play a role in the differences in communication between the sexes. Um, let's look at the brain. One aspect of our brain is that it's believed to make it. One aspect of our brain is believed to make a difference is the corpus callosum, which is this area here. It's the area between the right and left hemispheres of the brain that allows it to communicate these connections back and forth. It's actually bigger in twice as big in women as it is in men. Which leads people to believe that the communication is slower because there's less connections for men. Scientists say this is why females outperform males in verbal skills. Second difference in the brains of men and women is the hippocampus. That's this right here. That's also bigger in women. That is the emotional center of the brain. It's a place where emotions and memories are linked, like how we associate emotions to memory. So which may provide reasons why women tend to express their emotions more than men. The next biological difference having most drastic effects are hormones. It's a hormone. According to an article by Elizabeth Vargas and Alan Greenberg, hormones drastically shape thoughts and behaviors in developmental years of life. In utero, all children's brains are the same, female. According to Luann Brenzendine, testosterone changes the male's brain to look like a male brain. That's when it starts to change, when the testosterone is released in the womb. Females' brains change during teenage puberty years. Estrogen changes the way young women think, feel, behave, and behave. They begin obsessing over their looks because estrogen triggers the need to become desirable sexually towards boys, according to Dr. Luann Brenzendine. Males, on the other hand, become obsessed with sexual fantasies. Another interesting fact about testosterone is that it creates a right-side dominant brain, which is maybe a reason why more males are left-handed and are better at verbal skills. Hormones also play a role in communication besides in the area of development. For example, women are rewarded for having intimate conversations. Dopamine and oxytocin are released when a woman engages in having an intimate conversation. It activates the pleasure center of the brain. Dr. Luann Brenzendine says it's the biggest, fattest neurological reward that you can get outside of an orgasm. So she recommends that men engage in intimate conversations with women for obvious reasons. And also, she explains that's why girls like to go to the bathroom together. That's why they like to play with each other's hair, because they're more intimate than men are. Final biological factor is natural selection. Oh, I don't want to do that. Whatever. It's said that men tend to misinterpret a woman's innocent smile as a sexual come-on. According to Peter Rebenhen's article from Psychology Today, it's not because men are socialized to over-sexualize the world, but because of evolutionary reasons. According to the natural selection theory, males who falsely infer a woman's sexual interest stand a good. I'm sorry. Well, males who falsely inferred a woman's sexual interest stood to gain descendants, and lost little if that woman was a suitable mate. So basically, men have nothing to lose, so they might as well go for it. But what happens is men are hardwired to act this way. Think about it. It was more costly to miss a reproductive opportunity than to face rejection. So you think about it as survival of the species, and not so much as missing an opportunity to get laid. You know what I'm saying? That way. Forgive us, right? All right. Females having been abandoned after consenting sex, suffer greater consequences, pregnancy, which leads them to have more careful selection of a mate, and becomes because they're skeptical about men's willingness to commit. Now that we reached the end, allow me to recap. I discussed some biological reasons why men and women communicate differently. We talked about the different physical differences of the brain, the effects of hormones, and natural selection. Some believe that social factors play a role in the differences in gender communication. They probably do, but that goes beyond the scope of this presentation. I wish to leave you with a suggestion from Dr. Dorothy Wayman on how to improve your own communication with the opposite sex. Try not to change the other sex. Instead, learn to accept, understand, and appreciate the differences. Work on changing your own approaches.